Cool intro sound.
Alright, how's it going guys? AlphaYGO back at it again, and today I'm bringing you the follow-up video to this week's deck profile, which happened to be Pendulum Endymion featuring DDD without the use of Guardragons, which was fairly requested since our last one. And of course, I wanted to showcase what the deck is able to do without the use of Guardragons, and I'll showcase the power of being able to use the Mythical Beast / Endymions, and plus whatever kind of cool monsters our materials can make. But before we get started, I do want to point out, unfortunately, I am somehow still, for some reason, sick, and it is really annoying. But I do want to pump out these videos for you guys regardless of that. I just want to put a disclosure / apology that if there are really random cuts throughout the video, like I don't want to leave in parts of me just like coughing up a storm or whatever. So I apologize for the really random cuts throughout the video, but regardless, I do hope that the message that I'm trying to convey with the combos I'm displaying will be able to, get the message across. So let's just get started. So we're just gonna have to shuffle this bad boy up right here, and hopefully we can show off a couple hands, some that are good and some that are bad, just so we can showcase what the deck wants to do and what the deck can do when we do not open optimal. So let's go. Draw one. Okay, that's not that great. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's okay. And that's okay too. So with this hand, we have a couple of options. It's pretty unique because we have a couple one-ofs, but we'll just see how it goes. So we'll use Servant, obviously, using our Spell Power Mastery. We can actually add ourselves a couple of things here. Normally, we have the option of either Mighty Master or another Endymion. The other Endymion is useful because we can establish other low scales, which is really nice. But at the same time, we do have the Leonidas, which acts as a low scale and is a level 7 in our scales for the potential Meteor Burst. So we don't actually need to add a Servant, we can just add ourselves a Mighty Master. And obviously, because of Spell Power Mastery's effect, it not only gives like 1 counter, but it gives 2 counters. So Endymion is at 2. Then we can activate our Curtain Raiser in our scales, special summon out. But when we activate it, we obviously have Servant at 3 counters now, so special summon herself out, which allows us to go into our Jackal King over here. Then we can just basically activate any of our scales just to make our Jackal King be able to negate by itself without the use of the counters on Servant. So link these two away into that Electromite. Now Electromite has the option of sending us a couple things here. Because we have a high scale here, we actually have the option of going straight into Thomas and being able to pen someone out straight away. And we do have a DD monster in our hand that we can scale and pop. So I think that's actually a really cool option we can go into. But there are other options where we can actually just go really plus, because in this situation, we haven't used our normal summon because we've used only Endymion and Curtain Raiser. So we can actually send ourselves a Kepler over here. And then of course, we do want to keep this guy badly in our hand. So we'll just scale this Mighty Master, Electromite effect to pop, add that Kepler, draw 1. And it didn't matter obviously what we drew. In this case, obviously it was suboptimal. So we can actually normal summon ourselves at Kepler. Kepler will then get us a Contract. Contract will then get us a Thomas. And of course now we have plenty of options of what we want to do here. So in this case, we can now scale that Leonidas. Scale that Leonidas, and we can now pen anywhere between level 4 and 8, which is really nice because we can then pen summon out that, along with the Mighty Master over here from our extra deck and our Thomas. Then from this point on, we can actually use Electromite, the Curtain Raiser, and the Kepler to go right into our Apollo. Oh, and of course, after we pen summon, this guy's effect basically puts himself back in our hand, but it doesn't really matter too much. And then we can use Thomas's effect to pop our Leonidas in our scale to special summon our Ragnarok from our main deck. From there, we can of course overlay these two into basically anything we want. And in this case, we're just going to go into a Hope Harbinger just to help cover some more ground for our negates. So obviously here then, I just realized, I apologize that everything's a bit wonky with the camera angle. I'll try to start altering this. So of course we have an Apollo here with our rank 8, an Endymion, and a Jackal King that we've had since early in the combo. And it's really nice because we just keep racking up counters. We can just add even more counters with this guy later on. And I actually kind of like the fact that we have a scale that kind of retreats back to our hand, honestly, because you have looming threats in your hand. You have like live scales in your hand, and your opponent can't necessarily like get rid of them. That's just a cool feature of this one card. But yeah, so that's the one combo we can go ahead and do. Let's move on to the next one. So that was a pretty cool hand. it actually featured a couple 1-ofs in our deck, and it's usually hard to like kind of rationalize, oh, why do we play this 1-of, why do we play this 1-of, but that combo was actually able to show off a lot of cool features of what the deck can do with those cards, so that was really nice. But let's see what we can get here. Oh, well, that's, well, and that, okay, so we've opened a lot of technically good cards here. If this is a servant, we'd be like popping off super hard, but nonetheless, we'll activate some of these cards. Personally, I believe you want to do all our basically our search cards first before we draw anything. So we'll go into the Dark Worm and then gate 0 off that Dragon Shrine. And then, of course, from here, we have another couple options. We don't necessarily know what we want to search with this contract yet, because we might need another normal summon, which is really weird. So we're just actually going to save that for later. We're going to start off with an Upstart. Oops. Go into the Mighty Master, and then go into our lure, drawing into now the Servant, which is very ironic timing, I won't lie. So we had to get rid of one dark monster. That one dark monster, I believe, can be the gate 0 and the Leonidas do basically the same thing here. I won't lie. They do the same thing in our deck. And we might have a situation like earlier where we have access to Thomas and we want a DD monster in our scale. In other situations, we're just going to pull out the gate 0s to go right into the Meteor Burst. So I think regardless, we don't need the gate 0 because Leonidas will fulfill both our end boards, but gate 0 can only really fulfill one of them. So just in case, we're going to keep the Leonidas. And then because of what we have here, we can go into a multitude of plays. We can actually go into a really unique play here where we can go Servant into Scale. Servant and Scale is not the unique play. But then we can go Contract, and then we can actually add ourselves the Lamia straight away. And that might seem odd, but it's because we also have the 1-for-1. 1-for-1 plus Lamia will then be able to send us out Kepler from our main deck. And of course on Kepler Summon, we'll be able to get ourselves another Dark Contract. And then of course, since activating that contract and the 1-for-1 since Servant's Scale, we have 2 counters on her. Of course, we can just scale anything. We can Mighty Master over here, putting her at 3, special summoning herself out, along with Jackal King. And now we have protection against the potential Nibiru, which is really nice. So we can link our monsters over here to go into our Electromite. Now, from this point on, it is really hard to tell exactly what we want to do, but let's take a gander at what we have here. We have access to a level 7s in our scale, which means we can go into Meteor Burst. And when you want the Meteor Burst, you want a level 6 plus the Lamia. So we kind of want Chronograph here. So that is probably what we're going to go with. So Electromite will then send us our Chronograph to our extra deck. Electromite can basically do anything. You just pop this Mighty Master, add itself back, and draw 1. Oh, we ended up drawing another Chronograph, so it did not matter what we did here. So we'll scale our Leonidas, scale our Mighty Master, and pen summon out both Dark Worm and Chronograph. If we drew into another level 4, we'd be able to go into rank 4 right here, and then go into our whole shenanigans that we wanted, but we'll just showcase what we can do over here. So what we can then do is pop this Dark Contract, especially summoning out that Lamia. Obviously, Lamia will get banished going into our next monster, but it doesn't really matter because when you use Chronograph and Lamia, you will then go into Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst will then pull out this Leonidas from our scale, and then from this point out, we can go right into an Absolute Dragon. Now this is where you would normally have a rank 4 here, and you can use Servant, Electromite, and Absolute to go into Apollo and Vortex, which is really nice. But we also happen to have a Mighty Master in our scale, and we've accumulated a bunch of spell counters onto our Jackal King over here already. But if we didn't already have enough, we have another one. We can just activate another contract to add more counters. We can even activate this other scale to even add more. So for sure we have enough. I didn't keep track, I apologize, but we definitely have more than enough. So what we can do here is actually use Absolute, Electromite, and this Dark Worm to go into the Apollo Ursa. And of course, Absolute will then pull us out our Vortex. And from this point on, we can actually just use Mighty Master's effect to special summon stuff out using all the counters. And I can't remember off the top of my head if the destruction effect is mandatory or not. If it is, unfortunately, we probably want to just save this for our following turn, which is fine as well. But if it's not, we also have the option of removing all these counters. Of course, we have 2 extra spells here just in case we needed more counters. I apologize, I didn't keep track. But off the top of my head, I can't remember if the destruction is mandatory. If it is mandatory, it's a little lackluster to do this. If it's not, you can special out Endymion, keep 1 counting on Servant, because then if you want to negate something, we can just bounce the Endymion back, not only making this immune, but negating whatever spell or trap we wanted. And of course, then we have our scale set up again, which is a really cool play. But regardless, we still end on the Jackal negate, the Vortex negate, and Apollo Ursa, which is really nice. Alright guys, so I was able to film around 2 test hands with you guys. Hopefully I was able to showcase at least what the deck was trying to do. and a little bit of the theory behind why I built it the way I did. So hopefully I was able to convey that message. If you take this deck out for a test drive, you kind of get a general gist of what the game plan is supposed to look like. But thank you guys so much for watching. And I also want to thank you guys so much for already giving me suggestions of what decks you want to see in our last video. I am very grateful that I'm getting this feedback because I have a better idea of what you guys want to see, and I won't know exactly how I'm gonna get these deck profiles out to you because I can't promise being able to find every single card at every single point in time, but maybe we'll figure out something. Maybe we'll figure out a cool solution to that. Regardless, I do want to thank you guys so much for sticking with me. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.